We're here, my family. Welcome back to another episode of Galactic Tarot. It's your brother. Your brother's in the house, Alexander Mazzone. Let's do this. We're going to do this. We're doing this today. We're going to be talking about the three-dimensional structure of Metatrons cube. So this is a download that was upload, download, sideload that was received in about 2017 and took me about a year to just even begin to understand. So Spirit came to Alexander upon his awakening and said, the Metatrons cube, this shape, etched with lasers into stones all over the world. Seeing this shape where you see it, okay, my family, all right? Seeing this shape where you see it, oh, that made it very blurry. This is obviously three-dimensional structures. This is obviously three-dimensional shapes. Like, why is this still just stickers on the back of y'all's car? Like, this was a download and upload. People have their own belief structures about this shape. Some people think it's bad. Some people think it's good. Some people are like, oh, Metatron. Okay, to me, Metatron, this is the ascended version of Enoch. Like, this is actually proof that we can go from being a human being to ascend beyond the realms of archangels that many are still looking up to and have looked up to for over a decade. That is fine. To each their own on that process. To me, this seraphim, Sera meaning serpent, and theme meaning fire, a serpent of fire. This is becoming an angelic dragon, my family. So what I'm speaking about today is this shape. Why am I talking about this shape? Because I believe whether or not this makes sense to you, if you stay tuned till the end and you maybe just watch this, even if you're just like, what the heck is he actually talking about? I believe there's a version of you that knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're going to be like, heck yes. And there's going to be much that gets improved in your life. As great as it is, things are going to get better and better and better. And that is our hope here at the channel. And that is our hope here for ascension on this planet. So what have I seen come through from this? I've seen my speech improve. I've seen my brain power and like just certain things connecting within my consciousness improve by putting these three-dimensional structures together. So I'm starting with this one. There was other shapes before this that I've done my presentations, like basically wherever this was. The first time I talked about this on stage was at the Conscious Media Festival in 2017. It's been that long, and I've basically improved this presentation since then. But this has been something you had to like come out to an event to learn, and I definitely like it's just go time. I was like, it's time to share this with the planet. It's time to share this with the population. So I'm here, my family. You're here. Welcome. Let me know where you're punching in from. I already see Helen's here from Sydney, Australia. We're all over the planet. Remember to gently caress the subscribe button and the like button, and do not punch it. Everyone else on YouTube wants you to punch and slam and smash the like button. The like button is part of the self. So show love and gentle nature to the like button. Okay, I love you guys so much. So let's get right on into this. So what I'm going to do, we got the Netherlands in here too. All right, look at this. We're worldwide. We're going platinum, triple wide. We're going triple diamond, my family. We're going diamond heart space. Speaking of that, before I forget, if you're in the Sedona area, if you're in the even if you're as far as Phoenix, if you're in the driving range and you want to come see, Alexander will be at Halloween. My sister Stephanie from Seraphim Source, the Seraphim Source show that you might have seen. If you haven't, that's a fun watch. If you're in the area and you want to come out and hang out with some high angelics, Peter Sterling's going to be playing the harp. It's pretty epic. I'm going to be over there in just a few hours. So it's going to be here, and then it's going to be the Patron. Oh my God, I'm going to light the internet on fire on Patreon because there's no filter over there, and I need to have no filter today. So if you're in the Patreon community, please join on in. If you're not, maybe we'll see you in a little while. But yeah, let's get right on into this presentation. So I'm going to be doing the screen share here. Okay, so let me make sure I'm doing this right. All righty, right. Oh my God. All right, so can I hide myself? So I hit right here, and then I go, how do I stop? There I go. There it is. Stop camera. Okay. All right. So this should be working. This should be working. You should be able to hear me, and you should no longer be seeing me except for this very weird. Oh, look at all the loving comments. Look at all the great people. Yeah, I love you all so much. We're probably going to have a quieter group today because this is, it's a lot of people are celebrating Halloween. There we go. The actual cube. Here we are, my family. I'm hoping you can hear me. If you can't hear me, we're going to have to delete this and do it on a later day because I'm just going to rip right on through this. Okay, so here is the actual cube. All right, so this is the download that came through to me from Spirit, is this shape. So I was showing you the inner layer, which you'll see in just a moment, but I wanted to show you what this three-dimensional structure looks like. And to me, when I look at this, it's very symmetrical. It's made up of 6 squares, and it's made up of 8 triangles. This has been a full thing in my reality matrix, this number of 14, 13 being unlucky. But 13 is the 13th apostle. 13 is Mary Magdalene. And 14 to me is the number of the sun. So that's a whole nother, palette of cans of worms for another day, these numbers. But when I added up this geometric structure and it had 14 sides, that really stood out to me because to me, it was the ascendant of the masculine being 1, 2 being feminine, 3 being the child, 4 being the ascended feminine, 5 being the ascended masculine, whether or not that is queen or king, making this sandwich type reality when in, with Pythagoras, because I'm going to be talking a little bit about Pythagoras today and quoting some of the secret teachings of all ages by Manly P. Hall. This is a book from, 1900 or something, but this is the teachings of Pythagoras. And, does that help it make it a little bit bigger? This is the teachings of Pythagoras. And, this is somebody who's said to be ascended from Thoth and just have existed all throughout time and space. But what am I getting at is in Pythagorean law or teachings, the first number is the number 3. The number 1 and the number 2, much like what you'd hear coming from Nassim Haramein or some of these other beings, like those don't represent a dimensional standpoint. So we need 3 to be able to enclose space. And this is, part of my own belief structure. What I have found, Pyrrha, mid, pyro, middle, fire in the middle, to contain light in the middle, to contain fire in the middle. We need to have at least 3 points of interest, my family. So that's what we're seeing here. And then right here, we're seeing 4 points of interest carrying on. There's mama right there. Oh, God. So this is my actual presentation from the actual cube. There's Connie. You hear me talk about Connie? There she is. Can you see her? Can you see the cherubim? Moving on. All right. See that chair right there? That's the chair that I learned Reiki in. That is the very chair itself. I wonder if it still exists. All right. Moving on. All right. So the Merkaba. So I'm going to be talking about the Merkaba a little bit today because when you subtract the torus from the actual cube, from Metatron's cube in 3-dimensional structure, you're left with a downward triangle and an upward triangle. And I believe, since, whether it's from Drumvalo Melchizedek, whoever it is, the Merkaba being connected to the torus, to the torsion field, this is basically like the chicken and the egg once again. When these two shapes are forced down into each other, this is what's making the torsion field spin. And it's like, once again, it's like the chicken and the egg. Is the torsion field forcing the Merkaba to spin, or is the Merkaba spinning, creating the torsion field? So I just wanted to show this, and this will make a little bit more sense later. Okay, there. So here's Metatron's cube. So I showed you this shape with 3-dimensional just spheres, just literally just super glued together. So this is what I want to talk about, is basically right here. You should be able to see my mouse cursor moving right here, 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 and here. I was asked to put the extra spheres in. So this is how the Metatron's cube looks. But to really encase the space, to really create this 3-dimensional structure, this is what Spirit asked me to. Spirit came to Alexander and said, how many jelly beans in the jar? And when they asked me how many jelly beans in the jar, this was literally smashing my brains through a freaking Play-Doh fun factory. I was waking up covered in sweat, screaming out numbers. I was literally waking up in the middle of the night, like 61, like out of my mind. And it was a lot. It was a lot trying to figure this out. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm in the business of beads. So I went downstairs and I started gluing beads together that were had little chips and nicks in them from Crystal Current, my company here. Okay. So moving on. All right, so this is the vector equilibrium. So the vector equilibrium back then, so now the information has changed because Alexander's been talking about this since 2017. But when I originally, I know he talks so fast, just get what you can, my family, and please hang tight and stay here. Don't even hang tight, hang loose, hang ascended, and don't even hang. Ascend. We all ascend together, my family. Moving on. So back in 2017, the internet said that the vector equilibrium was the closest shape to Metatron's cube in 3 dimensions. I wish I screenshotted this back then, but I did not. But I promise you, I saw something along the lines of those words. So when I first glued the beads together, can you see how this is on a diagonal? So I think that this has a purpose, but until you've glued together the beads and connected the square with the triangle, instead of the triangle with the triangle, and I don't know why I can't find any evidence or anybody talking about this before myself in 2017, I just couldn't find it out there. But to see the square connected to the triangle, it makes this off-kilter shape. Now, if you're just gluing a bunch of toothpicks together or something, this doesn't happen. But when you're actually putting spheres together, because spheres are what are the points of interest to then make these shapes, is what Spirit basically showed me. These are the shapes that are going to fit closest together to compact space together to make these geometric patterns. But when the square and the triangle are connected, as I was saying, it's off kilter. So I think that this has a purpose, because if you keep stacking these together, it's going to spiral. But having it not spiral and moving it so the square is over the square. Let me come back to the camera for a second, see if people are losing their minds. So when the square, all right, welcome, hello family. All right, so when the square, okay, so I'm going to pull up this shape. You don't get that one, you get the other one. All right, so can we even see this? Yes, we can. All right, so square, see these 9? And then see these 9. So I resonated this together. I used resin to hold this together. So you see the triangle and the triangle here. Oh my God, it's so hard to aim my hand. I move it left, it goes right, and vice versa. So we get the triangles connected and the squares connected. So what I was just showing you was the vector equilibrium. What we're literally doing here today, all we're explaining is having this structure like this, filling up the empty space. Everywhere there's empty space with another sphere for a second layer, and then filling up on that layer everywhere there's empty space. You literally can't do this wrong. If you just put as many spheres on top of this shape as you possibly can, you'll get to the second layer. And then once you get to that second layer, you put as many spheres as you possibly can on top of that layer, and that's where they wanted me to pause. Okay, so you see this is the Metatron's cube, and I put these as tiger's eye, so you could subtract them from your mind, because it's just the lapis lazuli and the clear quartz, which is the shape that you'll see on stickers and on decals and tattooed on people's bodies. But it's about, boom, creating the actual structure. And this was so I could carry it, so I could bring it, and so I could even I promise you guys, if you were here, I'm sure you won't feel this from home, but I had people gasping. I had 275 people in the crowd. And when I did this, like, you can feel that when you're in the room with it. Like, you can actually feel that turn when this shape starts to move around, and you'll feel this literally if you just went to whatever, Home Depot or whatever, a craft store, and bought 55, it turns out to be 55, a perfect number. If you bought 55 wooden spheres and just glued them together, you'd get to this shape. But like I said, make sure that the square is on top of the square, not the triangle on top of the square. Moving on. All right, here we go. And then we're going to... So yeah, you guys can see, you can hear me. Welcome everybody. Beverly's here. Who else is here? Moving on. I saw that event, Stephanie's page. Yeah, Cheryl. I'd love to see you there. Okay, moving on. All right, where are we going? Okay, hold on. All right, bam. Stop the camera. Moving on. All right, back over here, and let's go. All right, so it dropped me back. All right, so there's the vector equilibrium. So moving on. So then we already saw this. This is the shape I was just showing you. This is layer number 1. Moving on from there, layer number 2. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in this next layer. And you can see on top of the white, you can see this gray. We made this transparent so you'd be able to see the stacks. So as you can see, all this is the empty space to fit as many spheres as possible, this layer stacked onto this layer. So when I saw this shape, I was like, why does this remind me of something that like almost like it's like stay away, or like this is like almost like something has been subliminally put into my mind to have me not want to look at this shape, to have me be afraid of this shape. Okay. So, oh my God, this is like magnetized to my bracelet. All right, moving on. All right. So go from here and bam, right there. That's when I found the radioactive symbol. So I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing here, but this ba-bam, 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 this radioactive symbol. And this was all put together later because as I was looking at each layer, I realized that each one had a symbol, almost like the powers that were, because we are the powers that be now, my family. And I love you all so much. And I hope you're enjoying this presentation. Like left subliminal messages to say like, stay away from this. It's bad. Like, you know, so if we ever saw this shape, we wouldn't want to look at it in certain ways. This is, you know, just certain things that I believe have taken place here on the planet, not to have that fear, propaganda or programming, but moving on to the next layer. Okay. Layer number 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So as you build this, you got 18, you got 12, and then you have 6. When you add this up and then you flip on the other side, when you're able to go then 12 and then 6 downwards and bring all this together, this is the shape that I'm telling you. It might not be easy to do right now. It probably shouldn't be easy to do right now. But as I meditated on putting this shape together, this is what started to improve the flow of my mind and the flow of my energy and certain things like this. And like I said, once I get through this portion of the slides and I can come back on camera, I want to do some readings, like I said, from these secret teachings of the ages. So moving on from here, look at this. So this is what I found. And I know for some of you, this is going to be a stretch, but that's fine. I know what I saw and I know what was communicated with me, but to see the biohazard symbol and to see the radioactive symbol overlaid and connected to each of the other layers after the center most important layer, which people call the seed, people call the tree, people call, you know, this very important thing that is so important and sacred to people that they're willing to tattoo it on their bodies and put it on their vehicles, where the sticker or decal on their vehicles, where the vehicle is basically an outward expression of your human body, is the vessel. The tires are the feet. The car is like basically a bigger version of our body and a representation when using life lucidity of the waking life. This is something that I've done. And I've had people be like, how did you know that? Like when I say like, oh, is this going on with your foot? Or is this going on with that? When I see whether it's like a air coming out of the tire, or like the person keeps telling me that a tire keeps popping or deflating. Once again, a conversation for another day that could go on for hours, which is, you know, lucidity in your waking life, not just in dream time. So moving on from here, okay, the Taurus. So like I said, if you get a tetrahedron, so I'll have to come back on camera for this. Is that the next slide, actually? No, it's not. Okay, I'm going to come back on camera for a second because I want to make sure you know what I'm getting at here. Okay, so he's back. There he is. All right. Welcome. All right. So if you get 3 points of interest for the 4th, this is the smallest way to encase space. So this is going to encase it on two dimensions. So this is going to, on paper, 3 points of interest. This one, you know, according to Pythagoreans, nothing. This, boom, now you have a straight line. This, now you're working with something. You've now enclosed space. Like I said, pyramid, fire in the middle, light in the middle. We're going to be getting to all this. But look at this shape. Once we put another point of interest, so this is only 4 points of interest, and you've made something that can actually contain water or light or fire or air or earth, so on and so forth. When you subtract, looking at the 3 at the top, okay, God, it's so hard to move my finger when it's going backwards as I'm watching it. I'm just going to go like this. When you subtract the top layer, okay, and I'm going to get to this when I show this. So it would be the, and once again, look at the hand gesture that I'm doing. When you subtract the 6, and then it would reverse it to the 3, and then it would be the 1 in the center. And when you subtract this hourglass shape out from it, because when the Merkaba came through to Alexander, the Merkaba had 4 sides, okay? And I know people show the Merkaba with 5 sides, showing the Giza pyramid. They say that this is a ascended version. For me, it was always the smallest way to encase space, and the smallest way to encase space was with only 4 points of interest, not 5. to each their own, to all the magic, all the numbers, all the shapes. They all have a home. They all have a purpose. But for me, it was always about, boom, spinning these tetrahedrons together to make the Merkaba shape. And the Merkaba shape then was creating the torus. And then I was finding these teachings or hidden things or writings, whether it was, Drumbelow or this person or that, whoever it was. The more I looked at this stuff, the more information I found that was validating this that I know. Okay, this that I know because I feel it in every cell of my body. I just know this to be true. So because this is what came through to me when I showed you guys a picture of Connie. When I saw Connie, she says to me, you're going to end up teaching a class here. I teach the class there. She's dead within hours, mind you. Okay. Once I teach that class, she was gone. That class where I was teaching the Merkaba. And I saw that during my Reiki attunement. So I don't want to go too far into the whole past and all the stories because we'll get lost in it. There's just a lot of how is that even possible? He must be making this up when he's not, I promise you. But when I was getting attuned to, it was either Reiki 2 or Reiki 3, definitely one of those, I saw the Merkaba. I saw that shape from the beginning spinning around. I saw it moving, and it wasn't moving incredibly fast. It was moving kind of slowly and counter-rotating. And I come out of my attunement, and I'm holding the crystal ball, and I look at Connie. You saw that yellow chair. I was sitting in that yellow chair, and I said, Connie, I saw a 3D spinning Jewish star. Pardon my ignorance here, okay? I saw her literally, this woman that could not be phased, this woman that knew everything, started to stumble backwards, and she's like, she had to catch herself. And she's like, whew. She's like, honey, that's called a Merkaba. You got to get home and research that right away. And that's what that time ago when I told you you're going to end up teaching a class here, that's what you're teaching the class on. And during this class that I'm teaching it, she looks at me, she gives me this slow, solemn nod, 45 minutes in. And I'm like, I was crushing it, guys. All right, let's be real here. I was up there. I was like murdering the presentation. The presentation was like, no. And, and she's like, so for her to give me that nod 45 minutes in, I was like, why is she telling me I got this? Like, I know I got this. I'm crushing it up here. So when I saw her do this nod, I was like, what is this? And it was very, very awakening and very, very, something to sit with, that I still sit with to this day, that she died from only an asthma attack at only 61 years old, right after this, like literally the day after this class. So going back to split screen, because there's just so much information. What are we at for time? 22 minutes. We're going to get as much in as we can, my family. Ba-bam. And then we're going to go ba-bam. And then moving on. All right, back over here. All right, the torus. So I basically explained what was here with this torus. So yes, this is a slightly more triangular torus, but it is also a symmetrical shape. And you'll like I said, you'll have to be basically looking at so the layer number 2. Let me go back. You're going to look at layer number 2. All right, this with just 1, 2, 3, and then on the center layer, what was clear, the clear quartz from the original, just right here. So it would be 1 right here, 1, 2, 3 right here, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? These 6 for the top of the downward pyramid and from the bottom up of the upward pyramid. So let's get back caught up to where we were. All right, the torus. Bam, we're going to go right past this. We're going to go right past this. This is just, there's just a lot. Basically, what I would just sum this up in about as few seconds as possible here. This is what people believe DNA looks like. Anything that I've been able to find with light, with structure, nothing is formed of 2. And this is what DNA actually looks like. Okay, this is the only actual image. This is what we have. So this does not look to me like this beautiful, this ladder that we keep being shown of what DNA looks like. And this is certain ways for people to limit their own activation. This is for ways for people to limit their own, how many strains are in their DNA. Because to me, this looks like spheres. Like I see the edges, but I do not see this shape of what's been shown. So we're going to keep moving on here. There's the shape. Okay, so I do have it. So like I said, extracting the tetrahedron from this shape. So this is what it looks like. This is probably somewhere in the house. I just don't know where it is. I found as many pieces of this in physical structure. And what was most important was having the full structure so you could see what it looks like. But this is what I was talking about. Like I said, this looks like a torus, but it's obviously a little bit more triangular because you have a rectangle, a half triangle or a trapezoid. These shapes like this. But this fascinated me. This was like certain things that Spirit over the years had me breaking down and building. Okay. So now lithium. Why am I showing lithium? Okay. Oh, lithium. Oh, I love you so much. All right. So lithium is something that can be completely just made of light. And that's why we have LIT, light, lithium. Okay. Because this, when we look at this, this is made up of 3 parts. Okay. And looking at the periodic table of elements. Okay. So we'll go back to these and why I'm showing these. We have the 3rd thing on the periodic table of elements. So we have helium and hydrogen. These 2 things that cannot be solids. And then we get to this thing, lithium, like your lithium ion battery in your cell phone. And we get to this thing that can be a gas, but also can be a solid. So what Spirit was having me break down, and I know like how the heck is this connected to this shape? Once again, I'm going to be going through this quickly. Now, keep in mind, the 8th thing on the periodic table of elements is oxygen, something that we cannot see, or I'm pretty sure we cannot solidify yet. But having oxygen all the way over here at number 8 and having this very simple structure of lithium, okay? Right here, this 3-pronged structure. That's why this is number 3. Number 1, we have 1 thing. Number 2, we have 2 things. Number 3, we have 3 things. Okay, so looking at this, this is the lithium ion. Okay, so these are the ions and the positive, the negative, all that stuff. So what are we looking at here? You're looking at a quartz crystal, my family. You're looking at these things that we all love having in our houses and around our bodies and on our bodies. So what is the difference between this and this? Okay. Let me ask you this. What is the difference? Where does the purple come from? Okay, so many geologists and scientists believe that this purple is straight up lithium deposits inside the crystal. But for this crystal to basically reach and expand higher through our awareness and have more spiritual ramifications, like I think this is science straight up. Like I think that this is part of like the true thing that makes Alexander do like a front flip out of bed every morning is this like side life purpose that maybe you don't know about, which is combining science and spirituality. And I just, I lost it. I was the only person in the theater that like screamed out here in Sedona when we were in the Avengers movie. And Thor says, the things that you consider science and magic are one and the same where I'm from. And like people like straight up turned around because I was like, oh, like I was like, ooh, and I was like, oops. I was like, I thought everybody was going to react, but it was just me, which is all good. But basically what I'm getting at here is this whole lithium structure, which is not really necessary to even like sit with right now. But I'm talking to your soul, my family. I'm talking to your ascended version. So that's it for those slides. You're going to have to come back later or slide back the bar later. So basically having the ability to go, okay, to close my eyes, all right, or you close your eyes and just go boom, picturing the Metatrons cube, picturing this field, and then putting it down. Now keep in mind, when you look at this, okay, do you not see that this, okay, is a cube? Do you not see that this is a cube? If you just change, like looking at this and pretend it's not flat on this side, do you not see how it's coming towards you with a point, okay? Do you see how this can also all fit inside of a cube, all right? So this is why when we have this shape, which is all of this together, inside, if you connect bead to bead, all right, or sphere to sphere, just like what's taking place, Willow, Willow's here, just like what's taking place in this 2D structure of seeing like, wow, like all those shapes look 3-dimensional, but like, why are we having, once again, this is what Spirit asked me, and I was almost just like, that's a really good question. Like, why are we having these things that look 3D flat on paper, like flat on the wall, flat on the skin, when there's actually something more? And that's what I believe is this. And that's why I called this presentation the actual cube. And that's why, like I said, I want to just now move through showing you guys and telling you guys how and why I've been building this. So starting from here. So then, like I said, okay, so I'm going to close my eyes for a second because I want to be able to picture this. So I have that shape. Boom. Picture it. Bam. Turn it this way. And then it's like 3 beads, 3 beads, 3 beads, 3 in the middle. Okay, so you get the 12. Boom, boom, boom. Bring that layer down. 3. 2 back this way, 1 that way. Bam. Bring that layer down. Same thing on the bottom. 3, 3, 3, 3 in the middle. Bring it up. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring it up. You might not be able to do this right now. Some of you, I know you're out there and you're like, holy crap, like who even is this guy? But some of you are like, what the heck? Like, I promise you, you can do this. I promise you, you can do this. I promise you, you can build this shape in your mind's eye. And even if you're not your other dimensional versions that the rest of the spiritual community is calling higher self, they're like, good shit, round of applause. Round of applause, brother. So having this shape and having the ability to build this shape, just like I just told you, boom, bam, bam, boom, boom, however you build it. And then also, like I said, the fact that this adds up to exactly 55 spheres, you can't make that up because this is a master number. You know, in numerology, they say many for years, for literally hundreds of years, it was hidden that 33 was a master number. This was hidden from time and space, that this number 33. But like, let's just think for a second. 32 degrees, we have something that's frozen. 33 degrees, it's changed form. This is literally talking about the worm going into the cocoon and then becoming the butterfly. All right. You know, it's like Jesus died at the age of 33 or so it's said. 33 vertebrae in the spine. We see this number 33 everywhere, which many of you are just like 33 is a master number. But many of you might have also not known that 33 was like, this was very, very hidden. This was hidden for a long time. And even in, what is the Masons or whatever? Like whatever, the degrees, like there's certain secret sects. It doesn't even matter. It's just a bunch of Rothschilds. But anyways, moving on from there, having these, the 33 is the hidden degree. So like you'll see all over how the number 33 is hidden. Oh man, that made 4 people leave. See you later. Moving on, we're doing this. We're doing it live. So having this number 33 and the number 32, we're basically able to see this. And then 44, what's 44? People love it. The archangels, it's like, how many of you have been like woken up by and just kept seeing, like before you were awake, but you didn't know you were awake and just saw 44, 44. And then this is connected to the 144, the 144,000, the 12 tribes, 12 times 12, 144. So this number 44 that like for so many just showed up over and over and over again. I can only imagine it's at least 20% of the people that are watching this video and will see this video will be like, well, yeah, no, he is right. It's always 1244 or 244 or 444. And this is because this is a master number that has to do with our ascension process, because this 44 being connected to the 88 and these basically the positive and the negative and the white wings and the black wings and the light and the night. It's just way too much to even talk about right now. Jimmy, shove. I freaking love that guy. Ohio in the house. Anyways, moving on from there. Can you tell that this was recorded live? All right, so now we're going to get in, just for a second, The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. I love the way you love me, baby. All right, moving on. All right, when was this? What is this? What is this from? I don't know. It's like 1900 or something. It's not even important. What I would like to get to is this page. So if you have this book at home, you're going to want to turn to page 154. All right. He's got some things highlighted. All right. So I just want to read over some things that I had highlighted. So so much stuff about archetypes. But what I'm reading through right now is where it says Pythagorean fundamentals. Okay. So I'm going to read the first sentence and then we're going to skip ahead. I'm not going to be reading all of this. The study of geometry, music, and astronomy was considered essential to a rational understanding of God. We like to say innerstanding here at the channel. A rational understanding of God, man, or nature. And no one could accompany Pythagoras as a disciple who was not thoroughly familiar with these sciences. Think about music. So music is one of them. Think about all those innocent women that were killed for dancing in the woods. No, let's moving on. We're not talking about that. We're keeping it high vibe today, family. Anyways, the study of geometry, music, and astronomy. Wow. So the stars were made of star stuff. geometry, the shapes, and how to actually control this reality around you. Like control the reality around you. When these shapes, I truly believe this, when these shapes were integrated, I had a chance to basically to literally escape the lower and exist on the higher. When I started to exist on the higher, it was like the lower didn't matter anymore. It was like I built myself a ladder to get out of this reality, plain and simple, or out of the reality that some people are still stuck in. I lack of better words. There's just so much information here. All right, so moving on. All right. He further declared the motion of God to be circular, the body of God to be composed of the substance of light. So this is why I was talking about the lithium. And I literally just found this like very recently, like under a week. But this shape has been, oh, that's the wrong one. You don't get to see that one. This shape has been shifting everything for me for, like I said, since 2017, whenever the first Conscious Media Festival was. And that's when I spoke about this opening up for Dan Winter. How epic was that? Anyways, so let's just read that one more time. He further declared the motion of God to be circular, the body of God to be composed of the substance of light, and the nature of God to be composed of the substance of truth. Ooh, can you feel that? All right, so, okay, where is it? Let me just find it because there's a lot of stuff highlighted here. Oh, okay, we're going to skip ahead to here. All right. Anyways, moving on. Okay, the digits 1 and 2 are not considered numbers by the Pythagoreans because they typify the two supermundane spheres. The Pythagorean numbers therefore begin with 3, the triangle, and 4, the square. These added to the 1 and 2 produce the 10, the great number of all things, the archetype of the universe. The 3 worlds were called receptacles. The first was the receptacle of principles, the second was the receptacle of intelligences, and the third or lowest was the receptacle of quantities. All right, so some of this might be very confusing right now. Just know I'm speaking to your spirit, and just know that this is very validating for many that are watching, but maybe not all, but still all. Okay, like I said, please stay tuned. I know, like I'm like losing people as I'm reading this. It's fine. Like we had like another 12 people, and now like it's down. Like I said, whether you get what I'm saying or not, my family, if you stay tuned for this, even if it hurts your brain, there is much to ascend, and there is much to come from listening to this and integrating this, or not. But even just seeing this and hearing this, these things and these uploads, downloads, or side loads are going to come back to you later at some other point as if they're your own downloads, as if they're your own ideas. How many times has that happened? Or how many times has somebody said to you, you're in a relationship or this or that, and all of a sudden you're doing this thing, and you're like, well, I just had the idea to do it. I stuck my thumb. And then all of a sudden, like the person goes, I literally like told you to do that for years. Like that was my idea. Like that was my idea. So it's not this I told you so thing. What I'm getting at is I want to just get through this information. And I know it's a lot of people are just like, what is he talking about? It's fine. Some version of you knows what I'm talking about. So please stay tuned. I'm not going to say that again. I promise. Okay. The symmetrical solids were regarded by Pythagoras, by the Greek thinkers after him, as of the greatest importance. The symmetrical solids were regarded by Pythagoras and by the Greek thinkers after him of the greatest importance. By having the ability to sit with these shapes, no matter how simple they are, and meditating upon them, and having your brain eventually stop telling you, am I making this up? No, to sit with it, whether it's the Merkabah because it's more simple, or actually building these 55 spheres, or just picturing this shape, or building it yourself out of glue and wooden spheres. Like I said, I promise you this improving your reality. Okay. So let me just keep reading that paragraph, and then I'm going to skip ahead to here, and then I'm going to maybe ask a couple questions, but don't put them in there now because I'll probably miss them. And then we're going to move on to the Patreon broadcast, which is going to be incredibly epic. He's going to talk about Kanye. Shh. Oh, sorry, just yay. Anyways, moving on. The symmetrical solids were regarded by Pythagoras and by the Greek thinkers after him as of the greatest importance. To be perfectly symmetrical or regular, a solid must have an equal number of faces meeting at each of its angles, and these faces must be equal, regular polygons, i.e. figures whose sides and angles are all equal. Pythagoras perhaps may be credited with the greatest discovery that there are only 5 such solids. So yes, I agree with you. This has 6 squares and this has 8 triangles. So according to these rules, according to this, it is not perfectly symmetrical, but it is symmetrical. When you look at this shape built in a 3D printer or built out of these spheres, you'd be like, I don't know, that's pretty symmetrical. And like I said, when you build it with a triangle over the square, which is called the vector equilibrium, I don't know what the name of this is. Like, this didn't have a name back in 2017. Maybe somebody's named it in the meantime, but it was called the vector equilibrium, which is a crooked shape. Like, that can't be the shape. Like, I don't know why for years we had the triangle over the square. Like, maybe we got to get Dan Winter on here or something, or some like big gigantic genius brain that can actually break down what Alexander's spiritually seeing. Because I would love to have some like math or some like people being like, holy crap, what are you talking about right now? I know what he's talking about. So this is a lot of the reason for getting this out as well. So moving on, number related to form. Pythagoras taught that the dot symbolized the power of the number 1, the line, the power of the number 2, the surface, the power of the number 3, and the solid, the power of the number 4. How many times have you heard me say that? I swear I did. This book is brand new. It's a good one. It's a good one. You're gonna have some things happen when you're reading that book. So Alexander suggests manly people. No, that whatever this publishing company does not, Dover Publications does not give Alexander even a penny. I think it's a great book, and it's on the list with the Kabbalion and the Keys of Enoch. And the Pistis Sophia is a good one too. J.J. Hertog's just kind of banging. There's a whole list of books. We'll put the list of books together. That's what I should do. I should make another video at some point, which is probably short, or a little segment that's like, what books does Alexander have? So for a couple minutes, we're not going to go crazy here. Questions. Let's put some questions in the feed, in the chat. We can stop sharing because we're not even going to be doing that anymore. Do we have any questions? My family. Yeah, and if somebody has like a contact number for Dan Winters, I would love to just get see the screen that you're watching me on, just split it in half and just put him right there, and just like, because I know he could be able to validate with his big scientific brain what's going on here. Yeah, we're going to give another, there's a little delay. So I'm going to give a few more seconds for somebody to put up something. Love you too, Helen. I'm going to give a few more seconds for somebody to ask a question about this, or why, or please make it related to the Metatrons cube or something along the lines of geometric patterns. And anybody? There's just a lot of love coming through in the chat right now. I love you guys too. Helen just says question with a question mark. I'm going to do about 30 more seconds of this, and then we're just going to call it a day. And by call it a day, I mean hop over to Patreon and just like, it's just going to be like, my brain's coming out of my ears in a good way. But yeah, very validating stuff he's going to be talking about today. Very validating stuff. But he's, all the work that we've done here on the channel. I want to make sure that the channel stays up. So we're going to go ahead and keep that over on the private server. Thank you so much to crowdcast.io and my brother Sai over there. Helen wants to ask, how am I connected to the cube? Because we are these platonic solids. We are these shapes. And the structure of our light body is the Merkaba, Helen. So as we look at this Merkaba and we spin these shapes, because this is what I saw was this shape of 8 points of interest. So 4 like that and 4 like that. And mind you, for years, like anytime anyone saw my hands spin like this, that's what I was doing, was creating, which I don't do this anymore. I use different shapes now, which those will be different videos on different days. But it was basically a cube. So I would make 4D, which is stories and dreams and all these validations, once again, for another day. But I go cube, like right around the beam, cube, and instantly the beam would start to bang on the walls. Like there's like whatever, the bad man, the demon, there's this or that. Cube, trap it in the tetrahedron. That's a tongue twister. And then I would go boom. So the 8 points of interest, the boom, it would be this, like I said, this hourglass shape. And then boom, I'd spin this and they would go, and then the beam would go, like stuck in the middle. Like he'd be like, he couldn't bang on the walls anymore of 4D, because what was happening was I was sitting in third density, and then 4D was the tetrahedron, which this is actually not tetrahedron. Sorry. Oh God, I'm drawing a blank. I just said it. The cube inside the cube. I can't remember the name right now. It doesn't matter. Moving on. That's 4D, and then 5D is the Merkaba. So spinning this Merkaba, I would be able to basically ascend these beings out of my reality and bring them to the court, because it was just years of cross it over into the light. And I was just like watching shadow beings be like, no, ah! So it was, it's not funny. Don't laugh. So yeah, this is why Alexander's pretty much been the only person on the internet saying, like, bring them to court. If you don't know how to bring them to court, ask your highest to bring them to court. And I know my views have changed on all of this in the meantime, ever since November 19th, 2021. Wasn't that a great day? Moving on. So anyways, so to answer your question, how are you connected to this? Because you are this, my sister. You're going to do another video on Mandela effects. I'm assuming you meant, are you going to do another video on Mandela effects, Veronique? And maybe. The only one I found recently is this whole, which once again, like, big shout out to this all-time guy. I love the research he's doing, or the research him and his community are doing together. I probably will. But the one that was just on this recent video, which was so epic to me, was like, you know, the Torah, like the ancient Jewish Bible, has been changed to say, that God's name is jealous. Have you guys seen this? Like, if you haven't seen this, go check that out. I thought that was so interesting, because there's no way, like, I can only imagine when I call my strict Christian Catholic father and tell him, did you know that one of the names of God is jealous in the Bible? He's going to be like, no, that's not true. And then he's going to go sift through the Bible and find it there. The Catholics are kind of losing their minds with this. That was the point of that Mandela effect video, which is getting pretty good responses. I was wondering how it was going to go. But what was my main goal with that, Veronique, was making it so people were not in fear, because there are more people in fear about Mandela effects than there are about people being empowered by them. And I believe they're empowering for us to know that multiple realities exist. All right, so if multiple realities exist, how do I make sure that every time there's going to be another 2 realities and or more, which is much, much more, but we're just going to say 2 for now, as this other reality exists, how do I make sure that I move on to the best one possible? And just having that belief structure in the mind, and then creating those sayings and those belief structures and those mantras within yourself, life continues to get better and better and better. Were there any other questions? I see no questions. CC, love you. How have you been? How/what ways can we utilize Metatron's cube to shielding during meditation? Put yourself in the center sphere. So part of what I sat with for a while was, does the center sphere even exist? And that's why this is clear. So Cece, I love this. What a question. Thank you. This is what I did for years, like up until I figured out that the icosahedron could literally just be a star and boom, like just, once again, video for another day. Some people are just like, what did he even just drop there, and then move on casually. But how can you do this? By picturing yourself. Okay, so right here, boom, I'm here. I put a sphere around myself. And then I picture the spheres around those spheres and the spheres around those spheres. And then I picture whether you want to go forward or backwards, depending on what feels right. The 3, the 3, the 3, and then the 6 on top. And then the 12 comes up, and then the 6 comes up. So picturing yourself in the center sphere. Oof. Leave that in the comments in a few days from now. Love to hear what you have to say about that. So Cece, what ways can you utilize the Metatron's cube to shield during meditation? It is a shield. It is all the shapes. Everything is in there. It's the shape of the dodecahedron. It's the shape of the cube. It's the shape of the tetrahedron. All the shapes, all the solids, all the physical connections to these etheric places, because each shape has a connection to a different planetary body. And the Pythagoreans believed that the planetary bodies were these archetypes of the gods. and having the connections to these shapes, whether or not there's a belief structure on this planet that the God is good or bad, that doesn't even matter. It's not even necessary, because it's like having these like, oh, that's the bad guy. That means that you're still in victim mentality. That means that you're still, I'm not talking to UCC. I'm talking to the rest of the spiritual world that points the finger outside and says, this God's bad. Oh, Kali's bad. So-and-so is bad. This is bad. Sekhmet's bad. Sekhmet. Oh my God. Have you seen the work she's been doing? Anyways, moving on. Once again, a conversation for another day. We're at about 50 minutes. I think that sums it up for now. That was good on the questions. Have I told you yet today that I love you guys so freaking much? So if anybody's into geometric patterns and shapes, you might want to share this video with them, or just, anybody that you want to see their ascension process have speed, ease, and grace. And just always remember, my family, to look at whatever's going on in your reality with innocence, and to hold space for more love every single day. Every single day, it gets better. It gets better. So I'm so excited for the patrons. If you want to sign up to be a patron, just search Galactic Tarot, same name as the channel, over on Patreon, and you can get all the links and all the things to come see the unfiltered version of this. Would you believe there's an unfiltered version of this that I'm actually stopping from saying certain things? I freaking love you guys so much. SedonaStarseed.com for the summit. Oh, I saw some names. My brother's coming. I see a lot of you are coming, and then some other people are not coming, but that's okay. We have trust, and we know that this event is going to be the most epic one that I've ever been to. I can guarantee it. I love you all. CrystalCurrent.com for your tools. GalacticTarot.com if you can even find room in my schedule. I love you guys. Patrons, I'll see you soon. We're going to burn the internet down, patrons, in the best way possible. With fire, with light, purple fire, purple light, golden rainbow light, all the good lights. And we're going to just, we're going to do some work. We're going to do some work. I love you guys so freaking much. See you very, 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 very soon. Oh, yeah, like the first of the month. That's when we do the readings. So I'll see you November 1st. Cheryl's coming. I love you guys. See you soon. Cheers.